Hello and welcome to Learn Live Streaming Live. My name's John Lacey. Today on the show, we're going to be looking at giving our YouTube profiles a bit of a makeover. So that's happening on today's show. I am going out live to all the various places and I hope everything's working properly because it's been an interesting morning. It was incredibly hot here in Australia last night and I slept in and I never sleep in. So I am running a little bit late, but if you are watching live, say hello to me wherever you happen to be watching from in the chat. Great to have your company today. But let's get stuck in. So obviously, we want to talk about YouTube channel branding. We want to talk about actually organizing the things that are on your channel, playlists, and different things. So I guess the place I want to start today is if I share my screen, and I'm just going to do something over here. Yep, there we go. So everybody who has a YouTube account has essentially a YouTube profile and it has a content on it. It has things like upcoming live streams. It has the For You section, which is actually populated by YouTube themselves. We have a number of different playlists that we can add to and organize. And I guess what I wanted to do today is revisit some of this because I think I started this account several years ago and I haven't really updated it lately. So the first place I want to start actually is, and I'm using some resources courtesy of my friend Channel Hills, and you can check out her website at channelhills.com, including this YouTube channel banner, including the new TV layout. So you can come to this website. This is channelhills.com/digital-assets. We can actually just save this to our computer. And I've opened it up in Affinity by Canva, which is a free app that you can use. Let me just maximize that so it fills the screen. All right, so I guess the thing to note about this is we have a number of different regions. In the section, we have what will be seen on mobile. We have sort of larger TV sections. We've got the desktop section. So what I might try and do, and again, I'm not, obviously Affinity by Canva is a relatively new thing. So I'm not completely across it, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag a few, I'm just going to eyeball this today. I'm going to drag out a few ruler items here. I'm going to do that from the top and from the sides. So I know that I want to have my main branding in this section over here, and then I can have other stuff outside of that if I want to. So I must admit, this is kind of an opportunity for me to reflect on what my YouTube channel is actually about and what I want to do with it in the future, because like I said, I've been doing this for a few years and there are things I want to explore further. There are some things that I'm kind of done with. So let's actually, and I realize I'm jumping all over the place, probably because I haven't had my coffee, but let's go back to the YouTube channel itself. So I guess what might be worthwhile is for me to take a step back and think about what are some of the themes that I want to create content about in the new year. So obviously, I guess the two main things have been OBS Obsessed, my show about OBS Studio, and also this show, Learn Live Streaming Live. And I do want to continue those into the new year, but there are some other things that I've only explored a little bit that I kind of want to explore even further moving forward, including things like DaVinci Resolve and the working with the Osmo Pocket 3. So I kind of want to reflect that a little bit over here. All right, so let's go back. In fact, what I might do, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm just going to play a really quick promo. I'll be back in just a moment. Hi, I'm John Lacey, and in Build a Presentation Muscle, I want to talk about finding your voice, refining and sharing your message, using tools and technology to share that message, and looking after yourself as a creator. And that's just a promo for my podcast, Build a Presentation Muscle, which you can learn more about over at johnlacey.com. So what, and again, that's another thing that potentially I want to include in here, but at the moment, this banner just says Learn Live Streaming. It's got a picture of me. It's okay, but it's not great, and it kind of doesn't reflect some recent visual changes I've made to my video thumbnails. So there are kind of two trends here, and even you'll probably see this quite dramatically here. I've changed how I'm going to actually design my Learn Live Streaming Live thumbnails, because they were very dark, and I think I was looking for a lot of contrast, but I don't think that's going to work for me anymore. So let's go back to Affinity. I'm actually going to find some files, and I'll just drag them onto this project here. And a lot of this stuff will be straight out of OBS Studio, but I'm just going to grab this as some references. So I guess the big thing is we just want to design our image around this layout. And if I toggle the visibility of this, you'll see that this section in the main is the thing that people on all devices will see. So that's where the most important content needs to be. I'm just going to find some images. Everything's working slowly today, which is really quite annoying, but it is what it is. All right. Let me just find some of these images. All right. So we might even start with this one here. And that's kind of huge in a way that I don't need it to be huge. So I'm going to make it a lot smaller. And this is sort of one of the thumbnails, or one of the images I took in anticipation of the thumbnail for today's show. So I guess there are a couple of things I want to do with this. And first of all, I want to grab that color, because that is a branding color that is important to my brand. So I'm going to come and grab the rectangle tool. And I'm just going to make a solid color. I'm going to go up to my fill. I'm going to use the eyedropper color picker and fill it there. I might even just do that. I don't even know that we have a outline, but just on the off chance that that is happening, I could have just gone to recent color as well and do that there. But all right, cool. I've got that now. But the other thing too, and this is the thing about graphic software, is that you have layers. So I actually have this image here. What I might do is I might even see if I can just use the object selection tool and just select me in this frame. And obviously I've got some green screen magic here, so hopefully that'll be relatively straightforward. So I can click into the section I want. I can grab this YouTube book as well. And I think I'll get the chair as well. I think that works. So I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but because I'm relatively new to this software, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to paste that on top. And I'm going to hide the visibility of the other one. Hi, Brenda. Brenda writes, hello from Metro Detroit, watching while finishing a few client projects. Great to have your company today, Brenda. It is sort of a crunchy part of the year, is how I describe it, getting a lot of things done at the last moment to be done, and hopefully excited for the holidays and that. So I just wanted to note too that this is Canva. Sorry, this is Affinity by Canva, and Canva actually bought the Affinity apps, which were really good standalone apps, and they've made this free software, which is kind of amazing. I know a lot of people like Canva. Canva doesn't really rock my world, but I do love that they've made this software freely available for everybody. It's available for Windows and Mac. I believe there's an iPad version coming at some point in the future, but it's not quite ready yet. All right, so now, if I've got my image cut out here, I can sort of resize this, and I can put this in different places too. And I might even, I mean, obviously at the moment, I mean, this might be an interesting look actually, if you were looking at this mobile and you only saw that sort of portion of my face. But I think potentially what I might do is just make it smaller so I can fit more of myself in here. I might even just zoom in a little bit so we get more of a sense of what this actually looks like. So, you know, maybe I just have a picture of myself there. Let me just see what other video thumbnails that images I've made recently that might be relevant. In fact, this one might be fun. All right, and again, it's coming in really, really large. So I'm going to just drag a corner and bring that in. And this is sort of me holding the Osmo Pocket 3 and a stabilizer, which again is kind of one of the other pieces of one of the other themes that I want to explore for my channel in 2026 is this bit of gear, which I've been really enjoying playing with. Actually, it's been a lot of fun. All right, and again, we just need to get the object selection tool and just click on it. And again, you'll see that it's got me. It hasn't got the Osmo Pocket 3, so we will grab that as well. And I suspect there probably is a better way of doing this, but I just don't know what it is. Because normally what I would do is select the inverse version of that and just delete the background, which I imagine is probably an option in here somewhere, but I don't know that I've identified exactly where it is yet. Deselect, find. Okay, find something to help. All right, so anyway, I'm sure there's a much more elegant way of doing this, but for today's purposes, again, I'm just going to go and create a new layer. I'm just going to paste that in, and let's got that layer there. Okay, so I've put that in there as well, so I'm going to get rid of it from here, and I'm just going to go delete. All right. And again, potentially I can come in here and resize this. I realize I'm kind of looking at this from a different angle, but I kind of want them to be similar in proportion. So again, I'm just eyeballing this. Normally you probably wouldn't design a new banner on a live stream, but I just thought it would be a good fun thing to explore today. So interestingly, there is a bit of a weird, let me just see what's actually going on there. So there is a bit of a weird thing happening there. I'm not really sure what that is, but anyway, I guess we can potentially just crop this. Get rid of it. Anyway, I probably won't actually get a finished banner design for you right now in real time, but let's explore some of the other things. So I guess the other things to keep in mind is that this section in the middle is just what people on mobile will see, but people on desktop will actually see the sort of sections either side of it. So what I might even do, I'm just going to make this rectangle a little bit larger. I'm going to drag it out to the edges. And let's think about incorporating some text. So let's go and find our text. Brenda asks, what live stream software do you use? So I use OBS Studio, which I really enjoy and really like, but I know is a little bit daunting for some people. But I do also use Restream to take the signal from my OBS and actually send it to a number of different destinations and also sort of combine the chats. So there's a couple of things there. I mean, in the past, there was a time when we used to recommend StreamYard, but then they got bought out by Bending Spoons and the price has gone through the roof. But Restream is quite good, and it does also have the Restream Studio experience as well. So just depending on what you're looking for. But yes, I do use OBS Studio and I have a lot of content about that. But again, my big thing is I tell everybody it's not as scary as you think it is, but a lot of people just come back and say, no, it is scary. But I don't think it is. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for anybody to use whatever makes sense for them. But let's just see. I'm not even sure where the text options are. Here they are. Okay. So in Affinity by Canva, we have the artistic text tool and we have the frame text tool. And the frame text tool is literally for whole sections of text. And I should say too that this software, it has three options. It has three sort of basic modes or personas, I think they used to call them. Vector, so that's for designing with graphics that have mathematical relationships and shapes. Pixels, which is for doing photos. And layout, which is basically desktop publishing. So you can publish an ebook, you can do like advertisements, you can get quite granular. But the frame text is really good for that if you're laying out an article. But for our purposes, let's just grab the artistic text tool. I'm just going to click, I can click in and drag here. And I can go maybe learn. And I might even just hold down the Alt key and duplicate that and go live streaming. And then we can choose our fonts. I really like Open Sans. I use a lot of Open Sans for my graphics. In fact, let's just go regular for the moment. And I will need to make this a lot smaller because it won't literally fit. And I might even just grab something from the list. Let's say 36, for example. And again, up here is where I can change the color of this. So I probably just want to make this white in this case. And I can drag this in. There are other cool things that we can do with this, but I'll show you that in a second. And I just want to do a very similar thing with the learn section. So again, we'll make this a bit smaller. 48 might be good. In fact, now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking it might be nicer in all caps. And I could retype that in all caps, but there is actually a button for that as well. So we can go change case. And let's go to uppercase. We can try that out. And again, probably want to make this white as well. So, got that there. The other thing about Affinity by Canva is if I click on one of these, and over here we've got our layers panel. I realize it's slightly behind my head in the live stream, but there is a little button called FX. So this is for layer effects. So if I click on this one, we get a whole bunch of effects that we can sort of adjust here. So if I wanted, for example, an outer shadow, I can click on that one and I can adjust the radius and the offset so we can hopefully see that a little bit better. I might even turn this scale with outline on as well and adjust the intensity. And it is, okay, I've made it quite dramatic there. I was going to say it's quite subtle, and it is for the most part. We can sort of adjust how large that is, and then the radius is smoothing that quite nicely, which is good. I should say this has become quite pixelated, probably because I am in the pixel persona. Let me just go back to the vector one. It's probably because I'm zooming in quite a lot, so... Anyway, we're just going to talk about this conceptually, and I'm going to have a bit of play. I don't think I'm going to actually arrive at a complete design for this right now. And there are some other sections I want to talk about the YouTube profile as well. So we'll do that. But I guess the other things, there are some really nifty things in this layer effects, and they're non-destructive too. So if I were to look at this and go, oh, look, I hate the drop shadow, I can literally just come back into this section and just turn it off, or I can adjust it. Like it's not something you need to commit to for the rest of your existence. And we do also have outlines. So if I wanted to put an outline around something, I could do that as well. And again, I'm making this quite dramatic so you can see the difference. We do have some 3D options. I'm not really sure what that will look like. Okay. It's probably a fairly data design idea, but it is there if you want to play with it. Inner shadows, inner glows. I do like a bit of outer glow occasionally. I'll often do this if I want to get some separation between the background and the foreground. So, you know, just a little bit of color on the outside. And again, I might need to change my blending mode for this to actually show up well, but essentially if you wanted to, it's kind of an outline, but it's an outline with a softer edge potentially. But again, you can play with those settings, charts, content. So I guess if we go back to our background, which is this thing that we got from chantelhills.com, there's a lot of empty space here that I potentially could add other things to. So, you know, if in the trick, I don't know why I want to sneeze so much this morning. It's not great, especially when you're on a live. But I guess the thing is, you can think about all these different sections. And again, actually, if you have access to a smart TV, if you've got like a Chromecast or something, actually go to your YouTube page on the TV, see what it looks like, see how you can actually work with these different sections. So I potentially, I'd probably be inclined to bring in some other some other sort of blocks of color. And I could potentially use the same color, which is sort of a brand color for me. Or I could try and do something different. In this case, I think I'd probably even want to maybe just make it a little bit darker. Or maybe a black or something. Just as a bit of contrast. And then I can incorporate more imagery. I can incorporate more, you know, text. Whatever I need to do potentially here. It could be even that I maybe recycle one of these things, but I will do it on a different layer. Might even make this larger. And I might even think about adjusting the way this is sort of shown here. So it could even, I could lighten it perhaps. I don't know. Again, I'm just making a lot of this stuff up as I go along today. But there are all kinds of blend options there that we could potentially incorporate as well. So I think it is worth exploring that a little bit and, you know, maybe spending a little bit more time on it than I have to play with today. And in fact, if I were to maybe do this, I'd probably even put this maybe underneath that rectangle. So again, once we cut out the background too, you can also use those blend modes on, the effects, the layer effects on here as well. So if I maybe wanted to do a bit of an outer glow, turn that on, scale with the object, make it white because it is on a black background and you probably won't see it otherwise. And maybe adjust the this as well. So because of the offset, it actually is giving me a bit of an outline to one side. So maybe I could bring it in there as well. And we've got the transparency. But anyway, you can do whatever you like here. I don't want to get too bogged down in this. And again, it's something I really need to go away and have a good think about over the break and revisit myself. But essentially, we have all this space. Just be conscious of the fact that this section in the middle is very much what users on mobile will see. And that's where the most important sort of mission critical information should be. So you can certainly work with that there. All right, let's go back to our profile. So if you were to change that banner, we could just go in here and go edit. And this is actually the place that we can remove this or change this. We also do have the option to, in fact, let me just zoom in a little bit more so this is a bit clearer. We do also have the profile image. Again, this is a very old image. I like the idea of dressing up in a suit. I think I might have used this on LinkedIn as well. I probably wouldn't use this again. I think I need to think about maybe taking a new photo and including that there as well. But there are sort of other considerations for the brand of your channel. And let's look at some of these while we're here. We've got the name of the channel. So Learn Live Streaming with John Lacey. I like the name. I like the username. But again, I feel like the mission of my channel is sort of evolving and changing over time. So potentially that might be different. A couple of things to note about both of these sections is that you can change this twice in 14 days. So just be a little bit careful. I know sometimes people will want to change, like add a Santa emoji or something into the, like this section, especially for a period of time. I'd just be a little bit wary of doing that all the time. But again, think about the words that people might be using to find your content. So again, Learn Live Streaming with John Lacey is great. Maybe I want to specifically call out some of the software that I use and work with. So like OBS Studio or DaVinci Resolve. I might want to include that there as well. Again, the handle is the thing that actually lets people tag you and lets people go to your profile. So the handle is actually part of the YouTube profile URL at the end, as you can see here, youtube.com/@learnlivestreaming. So you want to make sure you don't change this all the time or people won't be able to find you. We do also have the description. This description is incredibly old and it definitely needs revisiting. So again, think about the things that your users might be looking for, your audience is looking for, and think about working with this. It's kind of references two shows that I don't really do anymore. So that gives you some indication of how old this is. We can also add different languages. There is a channel URL, which is not the nice one, but it is what it is. Okay, we do have some external links that we can add to your profile, and you can't add just any old, well, I guess you can under the website, but what you can do is just describe it and include the URL. And I think the way this works from memory is that you'll see the first one and then it'll say add 2 more links. And if you click on that, you'll see those as well. So this is where all this information comes from. So I started this account on the 22nd of March, 2020. So I've been doing it for a few years, and I don't know if people know this, but what genuinely feels like a million years ago at this point, I did have a different YouTube channel, which was just sort of more fun for me and my friends. But one of the things that did actually come out of that was that I went to the YouTube launch party of the Sydney, the Australian homepage, and this happened at Fox Studios Sydney. I got this notepad, and the interesting thing about this is that it says youtube.com.au. And I think people won't realize this, but there was a time when a lot of countries had their own YouTube homepage. So there was an Australian one, and the Australian one would feature Australian content. And this was sort of in a bygone era before algorithms decided what we watched. And it's I discovered that during the week, and I felt very old, but it is what it is. All right, let's go back to the channel customization. So we've got contact information. I don't really want people contacting me politely, so I don't include anything there. But if you were trying to get brand deals or whatever, you'd want to have some sort of business email address there. We do have this video watermark thing. I don't love it. I don't use it. But essentially, there's a little. You can upload an image that's 150 by 150 pixels, and it'll just be there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if people click on it, it will subscribe to your channel. So that does exist. I had heard rumors that might be going away, but I haven't really seen that just yet. So we've got that. So that essentially is pretty much the top section of this. And also, if you click through, you see more of the description, you see the links, and you see the general information. So again, I'm just calling these things out. These are definitely things I need to revisit and I need to redo, and hopefully I'll get a chance to do that over the next couple of weeks. But the other thing about the homepage is we do have the channel is that we do have the ability to customize this. So we have different sections, and if you haven't done this yourself, there could be some default options here, but essentially what I've got is upcoming live streams, which shows you this one that we're doing right now because I loaded this page before we started. There's this For You section, which essentially is YouTube deciding which of the videos from this channel might be most interesting. So that's a completely algorithmic thing. And again, I don't know how well or badly that works, but I've decided to leave that on. And then I go into some of my playlists. So these are, and playlists, I should say, can contain your content, can contain other people's content as well. So you can combine those two. For these ones, it's literally just me adding my own content to things. And the great thing about this, these two are actually set up as YouTube podcasts. So potentially you could come in and listen to these on YouTube Music if you're so inclined. But essentially, I'm going to click on the title of one of them and show you what this looks like. So because this is a podcast, a YouTube podcast, and I know that's a controversial idea in podcasting circles, but you do have this square thumbnail art, which you do need to design separately. Again, you can sort of give this a description, and you can see that we've got the various videos in here as well. So... and again, same sort of thing for Learn Live Streaming Live with John Lacey. The trick with a lot of this, especially for live streams, after I've done the live stream, I usually need to leave this for a day or so, and then I come back in, and then I can add them to the playlists, and I can put in end cards if I remember to do that. The video and live streaming show with Sam, which we haven't done in a very long while, almost a year, except for sort of a one-off event. And then there are some things that of co-hosts and this latest channel, this latest content idea. I love the idea of this, but I probably need to just go back in and revisit it because it's just got... I shudder to think how much stuff I put in here because I just added every new video to it as I went. So 121 videos in there. So I probably want to go in and change that. So we've got that there. And posts as well. So if you do want to actually add some posts, it actually has its own section at the top here. So let me show you that as well. We can view these. And again, if you don't have any shorts, for example, you probably won't see this option here, but you can look at the videos. You can look at the shorts. You can look at lives. If you do lives, otherwise they probably won't show up. Podcasts. And again, any playlist that you've set up as a YouTube podcast will show up there. Playlists. And a lot of that is some of that is my personal playlist as well. Some music I like to listen to, which users won't necessarily see except when I'm sharing my screen in this section, but we do also have the posts. So, okay, so This is the place, by the way, where you can post images, you can do polls, you can do quizzes, you can do whatever you like here. So if you want to share other people's videos or your own, you can do that as well. So it's just a different way of building community. But I guess if we go back to the homepage and let's check out our customize channel options. So again, it actually brings us back to the same section we looked at previously, but what we want to do is go from profile to home tab. And this will show the different options and the layout. So for the layout, we have the ability to customize up to 12 sections. And I probably used all these sections because this add section button is grayed out. But you'll see that I've got things like featured video for returning subscribers. I've got upcoming live streams. I've got... oh, excuse me. I don't know. It's something about the Australian summer and allergy season. It's not a great combination, but it is what it is. So I've got the For You section. Again, that is based on what YouTube thinks you want to see. The live now, which again is this one. And then I've got individual playlists. And I've also got my posts as well and collaborations. So I don't actually have any collaborations set up. So for the moment, I'm just going to remove this and I just want to go through the motions of showing you what this potentially looks like. Although maybe I need to publish that for that to work. Let me just try that. Okay. I'm going to refresh. Okay, that hasn't helped at all. All right, what I might do... What can I turn off? I'm going to get rid of this as well. Let's get rid of the For You section. And none of this seems to be helping, which is really annoying. Because I'd really love to show you all the different options that we can. I'm gonna try and publish this. I have a feeling it's not gonna help. Okay, let me just refresh this page. Okay. All right. Well, that's not great. I've taken away some sections and I can't add it anymore, which is really annoying. What is less interesting? Learn OBS? No, I definitely don't want to get rid of that. Edit section contents. Okay, let's try that one. So in this case, because this is a single playlist, I can sort of change the playlist that it is. But it is so annoying that it's not giving me the option. So let me just check how many of these I've actually got. So I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So I do have 12. All right. Let's get rid of the post for the moment. I can probably add that back in. All right. Cool, cool. So now, just so I can show you what this actually does, is if I go to add section, we have all these different options. So we've got channel trailer. So if you have a trailer for people that are visiting your channel for the first time, you know, maybe a bit of overview of the content they can expect, you can add that here for you, which again, I think I've already got videos, popular videos, short videos, collaborations. Past live streams, single playlist, created playlists, multiple playlists, subscriptions, and featured channels. Let me show you this featured channels thing because it's pretty cool. So if I would go Sam Proof, that's actually the titles. I'll call it other YouTubers for the moment. So I can go Sam Proof, and then I can go business growth ready, and I don't know that Brenda's still in here, but let's see if we can find my, yeah, there we go. All right, cool. I'll go done. I will go publish, and then I can go to the channel. I'll have to scroll all the way down. Although I might be looking at a case version of this because it's showing me some old stuff. Goodness, it's going to be that kind of day, I suspect. Anyway, let me check in with the chat for a second. Business Growth Ready says, I was updating mine the other day and I noticed an upper limit on the number of playlists you can have. Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, it's annoying, but it's good to be aware of. All right. I don't know. Let me just, I'm going to inspect this. I'm going to see if I can hard empty cache and hard reload. See if that makes a difference. It may not. It's the joy of doing things live. There we go. Okay, so once I refresh the page properly, you'll see that we have this section. And again, you know, I can click through to these other YouTubers. So if you want to feature other projects or other people, you can certainly do that too. Another thing I probably should mention at this point is these two lines that are to the left of these sections. If you click on them, you can drag them up and down. So if you want to reposition any of this content, you certainly can do that. So that is something that's really cool. Add section. And you'll see that some of these things will actually be grayed out because I can't use them again. But I can do different things like that. So let's have a look at this featured video for returning subscribers. I might change that. I have no idea what I would put in its place, but let's just see what else is here. A lot of these are just straight up live streams, so maybe that's... I probably want something a bit shorter and snappier for this. I don't know. I might leave that one alone. I think that'll do for the moment. And that's probably another goal I need to set for 2026 is actually have more standalone content, because as much as I love doing these live streams, I think people often just want a short, sharp dose of something. So you've got that there as well. I'll go back in and I'm just going to add my posts at the bottom of this because I think that's worthwhile, and we'll go publish. All right. And again, just keep in mind that if you don't see the changes you've made straight away, there's probably a browser caching issue. You probably need to wait a little while, but we do have different ways of showcasing stuff. And I guess there's always the danger that you're giving users too many things to think about, too many options. And I think that's potentially what I'm doing right now. So I don't even remember. So what is that first section? So that's featured video, upcoming live stream, live now. Okay. So that's interesting. I'm surprised that upcoming live stream and live now are essentially the same sort of thing. In fact, I have a weird I have a weird feeling that might even be a special type of playlist. But anyway, that's fine. All right. So Brenda asks, are you monetized yet on YouTube, John? No, I'm not actually. And I'm some way off that even being a possibility. And to be honest, in a lot of ways, that's not really my goal. Although there are a lot of YouTube features that sort of kick in when you have 1,000 subscribers that I really would like to explore. But yes, that is definitely something you can potentially explore. But that's, yeah, I'm not really in the realm. I do have 860 subscribers, but I'd really love to be at 1,000. So I'm going to press this button. It probably won't work, but we'll give it a go anyway. No, of course it didn't work. I don't know what's going on with that button because it used to work so incredibly well, and lately it's just every time I try to use it, it just plays up, and it's not really. In fact, I'll do it manually. There we go. Like and subscribe. In fact, let me do it again because I feel like no. So yeah. Whatever's going on between the Stream Deck and OBS, it doesn't like that, but I can do it manually if I need to. And Brenda writes, you can be. I made it a goal at the beginning of 2025, and it only took a few months. I'm now making about $100 per month, better than nothing. Okay, well, that's cool. Awesome. All right, so I guess, and again, I don't know that I've formulated any better ideas with this, but let's go back to Affinity. This is kind of an old trick, but I guess it potentially may still work. So Brenda writes, share this code at the end of every YouTube video you share, and it's basically !sub_confirmation equals 1, which helps to encourage more subscribers. Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, let's go back to Affinity. And I have a weird feeling that this, and I guess if you're just joining us, I'll backtrack my steps a little bit here just to give you a sense of what actually happened here. So I went to my friend Chantel Hill's YouTube profile, and it's at Chantel Hills. You can check her out. She does a lot of streaming content as well. And went to her website for this YouTube channel banner. I have a weird feeling that this is so the image size is 2,560 by 1440. I have a weird feeling that might not be how this is worked in here. Let me just see if I can find the documents. In fact, I guess probably what I need to do is find out the artboard dimensions. Oh, okay. Document setup might be good. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So this should be 2,560. And 1440. And I okay, there we go. It did that. All right, cool. So now I probably want to scale all of this. Let me just select, and that kind of makes a lot of sense actually, because it was looking incredibly pixelated, and I wasn't really sure why, but I have a feeling that was why. Okay. All right, cool. So that might be an additional step that you need to think about, but essentially what I will try and do, and I will turn off all of this stuff. And I just want to make sure that my my guides are a little bit more representative of this middle section. All right, so I've turned that off. Yep, so it's probably worthwhile just making sure that your document is in fact those dimensions, because it wasn't looking too crash hot when I was doing that earlier. All right, so let's just bring back in what I think we need. This one. And there are a few things on here that are all on the same layer, which I probably wouldn't recommend. And again, I have no idea what happened with that artifacting. In fact, I'm going to do that again. We've got time. I'm going to go find my image and I'm just going to drag it in again. All right, so now it's no longer massive. I mean, it's still too large, but it's not as large as it was previously. Make sure you hold down that shift key. I say that and then it doesn't do anything. What's going on? Okay, so don't hold down the shift key, just drag in the corner. All right, and again, let's go and do our object selection, which is in the pixel persona. Click on it. And again, it got me. Yep, I think that's about right. I'm actually going to hide that. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to paste this into the new layer. Actually, it's interesting that that selection was still there. There are things about Affinity, this DaVinci version, in terms of selecting, deselecting things that I genuinely don't understand yet. And I'm sure I'll figure it out eventually, but it doesn't make sense to me. And I guess, okay, so Control D is deselect. So and I think that was the problem. I want to actually move this entire layer, not just the images inside of it. So again, because I want to be inside of those dimensions, I will maybe do that there. I'll maybe make this one smaller just so it looks similar height. And then we can sort of explore what we want to do here. So I feel like the live streaming section, and again, I'm going to go back to all caps, which we can do really easily over here. I'm going to try semi-bold, maybe extra bold. I might even make this narrow. It's funny because in some ways, I want the live streaming to be the larger thing. In fact, let's just drag this and make it larger. I might even move this over across. But again, just think about layers, because this one is now on top in a way that it probably needs to be. And again, make sure I grab the entire layer. Drag this down. There we go. Again, because I kind of want some visual separation there, I might explore some of these layer effects. I think outer glow might be the way to go for this one. And I guess I need to actually see what I'm looking at. We'll just go normal because that'll be more obvious to me. We'll look at the radius. And you can see sort of the black there as well. The intensity, I don't know, maybe that's probably too intense, but let's try it. And then again, if I don't want it to be as dramatic, I can try some of these other blend modes. That's interesting. I don't love it, but it's interesting nonetheless. All right, I probably have a lot of design things to think about. Hello to Frozen Fusion 007. Great to have your company. So, like, I don't know that I've solved any of my own problems, let alone any of yours, but I just want to remind you of some of the things you might want to think about if you are actually looking to update your YouTube profile. Obviously, the imagery is a really important place to start with the branding, but there's also, you know, the handle, so make sure that's nice and descriptive. Make sure you look at your descriptions, maybe update your links, maybe update the text that's showing up there, as well as the playlists and the things that you might want to feature actually on your YouTube profile as well. So again, I'm going to keep playing with this and I will just see where I end up. In fact, part of me likes the idea of that. But I need to think about it. And again, keep in mind so that this middle section is what people on mobile will see. This whole section is what people on desktop potentially will see. And then there's sort of larger smart TV sections up and below. And again, if you do want to grab this from Chantel, it's chantelhills.com. It'll give you some indication of what different places will see, including a long playlist description. This is definitely worth exploring. But I think... And I realize this is probably not the best time of year to be doing this, as we're all gearing up for the holidays and, you know, trying to get things done. But I think it is worthwhile to periodically revisit this stuff and think about what you might like to change and what you might like to do differently. If you guys make over your channel in the next couple of weeks, let me know. I'd love to check it out and see what you're doing with it. That would be really, really cool. Otherwise, have a great week, have a great weekend when you get there, and have a great Christmas and a great holiday season and Hanukkah and all other things. I hope you find some time to actually disconnect. I know that's ironic coming from me, but I think we do need to just chill out at this time of year, especially here in Australia where it is summer and it is incredibly hot. So make sure you look after yourselves. I will be doing more content in the future. I don't know if I'll be here next week necessarily. I'll just see how I feel. Because on the one hand, I probably will be bored and I'll probably be dying to talk to you all. But I won't make any promises at this point in time. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all the people in the chat. That's been really wonderful today. Take care and I'll talk to you again very, very soon.